Welcome to Making Money with Laura Sanders, a name you can trust. With over 20 years of real estate experience and selling over 150 homes a year, Laura Sanders is the #1 RE/MAX agent in the state of Florida for 2021. Join us each week as we discuss how to make money through buying and flipping homes to renting versus selling and everything in between. To join the conversation, call in live 888-994-4995, Studio A.
Hi, and welcome to Making Money with Laura Sanders. I am your host, Laura Sanders. Every week we talk about something that can help you make some money. So that's why we call it Making Money with Laura Sanders. Anyway, I crack myself up. Anyway, I am a local realtor. I am one of the top agents for RE/MAX in the state of Florida. Actually, I am the top agent in the state of Florida. I am number 18 in the United States, number 52 in the world for RE/MAX. That's pretty good out of 130,000 agents. So last week we talked about how to help you make some money on getting your house hurricane ready. And we definitely have a client that can get $10,000 because they have a 1992 roof. Today, we're going to talk about credit. People don't realize how important credit is. Credit drives the world. It drives it in so many different ways. For instance, want to buy a house? Guess what?
If you have bad credit.
Oh, can I say that word?
Yeah, of course.
Bleep. If you have bad credit, you are going to get a lower, you're going to get a much worse interest rate than if you have good credit. So today with me, let's welcome Joseph Zappoli with Credit Repair. I call it Ugly Credit, but I think he's changed the name.
Not with Credit Reporting Advisors, and we brand Credit Ugly.
Okay,
Because
we're Credit
everybody remembers
Reporting
Credit Ugly.
Advisors, and we brand Ugly Credit.
There you go.
So nobody wants ugly credit, but
No.
so many people have it.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about credit.
Yeah, so it's obviously vital. It could be the difference between getting a home, purchasing a home or not. It can certainly be the difference in saving hundreds of thousands of dollars on your mortgage. And you would know that based on all your information you have. We've been doing this since 2004, and we've changed over 20,000 lives, certainly been able to get them to the goal. So it's very important in your business to have business credit and solid credit, and your personal to have great personal credit. It is a profile of who you are on paper.
Which is sad, but it's so true.
And it could be just as simple as you ran into a season, so your credit was perfect, but you ran into a medical issue, a divorce, and you're gauged by that pocket that season. That's what's horrible, because the past was good and the future is bright, and yet that little season, that little pocket destroyed them. And that's sad, for sure.
Right. And when you go to rent a place, they want to check your credit. Wherever you go, it's like they want to see your credit. When we had short sales, some people would make exceptions because the credit was lower. A lot of those people are back up to the 800 credit score. So let's kind of like dive into it a little by little. Number one, can you protect your credit when you're married?
Great question.
Well, there's lots of protection we could talk about when it comes to credit, but let's first talk about when you get married, how can you separate yourself from your spouse to not get hit if in the future it ends up in divorce? Okay,
so don't merge a file. So try to keep everything separate.
Okay.
When you are married, some things merge naturally, but don't do don't do an authorized user to give your spouse credit on your history, which we can talk about, because that's a great way of enhancing credit. Just don't merge the files. A lot of times they do dual credit cards, joint credit cards. You should certainly keep everything separate. It's definitely a smart way of going, just in case one fails.
Right.
The other one can stay in good standings. So that was a great point, for sure.
So if you end up becoming a stay-at-home mom or dad, more than likely you're going to have to merge.
Yes and no. I mean, when the time's needed for that person to have credit, not everybody's looking for anything. So I would do it strategically.
Okay.
If you need something, I would then maybe add an authorized user or add a joint account. But if you don't have to do it, you don't do it.
Okay.
That's what I would do.
So something in which I found this to be interesting, my daughter recently decided she wanted to buy a house, and she didn't realize that she had no credit, which is not bad, right? To have no credit, better than having bad credit, right?
Yes, yes.
So one of the things that we realized is that I had to tell her, which I thought I told her when she was younger, I said, don't use more than 30% of your credit card. So if you have $1,000 that you can use, you shouldn't be using more than $333. Like,
correct.
You want to keep it under a certain amount. Otherwise, even though you could be paying that $1,000 off every month, right? The credit thinks that you're like high risk because you're spending all your credit limit. So let's talk about that.
Well, you want to keep it at 20% is perfect.
Oh, 20.
20 is really ideal. You have to play with the system. So everybody's credit's different. We followed this for about 20 years. We have a little algorithm. And some people we've seen that left 20% on and their scores were the highest. Some people paid it off every month, and that person may have been higher, but we've seen the opposite of that. We've seen that people that left 20% on were actually higher than the people that paid it off in some circumstances. So each individual should play with it while they have time.
Right.
If they don't need anything, just play with it. Pay it off, bring it up to 20%.
I wonder what determines who would be affected by that.
Well, I think the credit bureaus want you to be at risk. They want you to use the credit. I think there's a little monopoly there with credit card companies and the credit bureaus.
Well, of course. I mean,
so
they're not in business to just let you pay it off every month. You're not their ideal customer.
Right. And if you leave your cards dormant, they'll shut them down. So there's some alliance there, because that should certainly not happen. So I tell clients to just, if you're not in a rush to get anything, play with it to see where your score is going to be at the highest, and maybe go to 25%, maybe take a little more risk, 30%, but play with it. I think that's important.
So everybody listening, if you are really thinking about buying a house, you really need to be listening to what we're talking about, because this is really going to affect you in a lot of ways. So number one, we're talking about how much of your credit you should use and how that affects you, like taking it up and down, like how much you would use of it. Another thing that would affect you with credit would be, and I just had it at the tip of my tongue and it just disappeared. See, I just had a birthday and now you see I'm losing everything.
History?
Well, your credit history, but also like one thing I tell people is if you are available to get more credit, request more credit if you can, right? But the other thing is that's what it was, paying off credit cards. If you have like 10 credit cards, and sometimes some of the lenders will say, oh, well, you have a lot of eligible debt.
More
and
risk.
You're at more risk that, and they start thinking that they should just start closing these credit cards, and that is not, and I tell them, don't do anything.
It's a boo-boo.
Talk to your lender first.
Yeah, it's a boo-boo. You don't want to close credit. You don't want to exceed 20% when you're ready to purchase. You could be at max, you can max out your credit cards, but when you're ready to make a purchase, buy a home from Laura, a couple of months prior, bring those credit cards down. So you don't have to maintain 20%. You just do it over time. But you brought up a good point before, and I don't know if that's where you were going, but I do want to bring it up.
Right.
You can freeze your credit. So if you
that kind of protection, that's why I said, I knew you thought that's where I was going, but I was like, no, I'm thinking more like because you get married, and a lot of times that is how credit gets damaged, in a divorce.
Yes, big time.
But freezing your credit, right? So that
if you have good credit, you can freeze it. You call one company, you pay $10 each bureau, and you can absolutely freeze it. Nothing can happen. Then you got to pay $10 each bureau to unfreeze it. So that's great. If you're not looking to purchase something, that's a great way of going.
But what do you think about, rather than freezing it, what do you think about using like Credit Karma? Well, they'll actually send you notifications. Like I always get notifications like, oh, you're doing a good job. Like your credit just went up. And I'm like,
okay, valid. So a monitoring service is essential. Everybody should have one. Credit Karma is free, so it's fair. It only shows 2 bureaus though. Okay. So we use a company called Identity IQ. We like it. We've been doing this for 8-9 years. Smart Credit is also good. There's another one called it doesn't really matter. That's not what it's called, but it doesn't really matter. But
it's called it. No, I'm just kidding.
But you want to see all 3 bureaus, because Credit Karma, you could have something going on another bureau that they're not showing you. So all 3 bureaus, you pay for the service, it's minimal. There's a protection on there, in case somebody steals your credit. And you get notified, just like you said. And if you're, as a lender, as a realtor, and you're a lender, If you have somebody in a monitoring service and you ask permission for access, so you're not pulling a hard pull, and now you see they went to City Furniture and bought $20,000 worth of furniture and they're going to close in 30 days, there's a problem. You know, right? There's going to be a problem with that closing.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So, that's really important. If everybody can use that monitoring service during the process of buying a house, realtor, lender, credit repair, there's a good chance nothing's going to go wrong because we're all looking at it.
And so we're going to go to commercial, but before we do, when we come back, I want to talk about, how most people don't trust credit card repair places. They think they're fraudulent.
Yep.
So we'll talk about that and why they should trust your company, right?
Okay.
And the other thing that when we get back that we'll talk about not only is why they should trust you is a whole nother topic that I just can't remember right this minute. But when we come back from commercial, we're going to talk about it.
We're not singing.
Whether you're buying, selling, refinancing, or building your dream home, you have a lot riding on your loan specialist. Max Fish, a top 1% mortgage loan officer in the nation, will give you a same-day qualifying quote. Max Fish is committed to providing his customers with mortgage services that exceed their expectations. Ensuring that you make the right choice for you and your family is his ultimate goal. Contact Max Fish today at 954-729-6933 or max.fisch@nwmcorp.net.
At Title Brothers LLC, our mission is to give you the best closing experience anywhere in the country. Founded in 2020 by Adam Lohman and Josh Wiseman, here at Title Brothers, we're your one-stop shop for residential real estate, title insurance, title and escrow services, real estate closing, and due diligence services. While primarily located in South Florida, we also host dozens of closings throughout the state and even electronically as requested. To contact the Title Brothers, call us at 954-995-4988 or visit our website and get a quick quote today.
You have been watching Making Money with Laura. For more information, contact Laura Sanders at 954-650-0827 or visit her website at theloracell.com. And now back to the show.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Making Money with Laura Sanders, and I am your host, Laura Sanders. I am your #1 RE/MAX agent in the state of Florida, and if you're ever thinking about buying or selling a home, please give me a call at 954-650-0827, or you can catch me on my web at www.lauracell.com. With us today, we have Joseph Zappoli. He is a representative of Ugly Credit, and we don't want ugly credit. So, Joseph, we are going to talk about why people should trust your company. Because I have to tell you, you guys get a bad rap.
Yeah. Credit industry.
Not your company, just
right.
credit repair people.
The credit industry is not a credible industry. It's really simple. There's a lot of people that have attempted to fix their credit, and they became credit repair companies. It's one of the most Googled name, credit repair of any other industry.
Right.
A lot of people are good for 3 months. They can get some things done for 3 months because they don't have anything else to they have no defense after 3 months. They can say it's not mine. They can say all these different things, but they can only last about 3 months. Then things, if it's frivolous, it can come back on the report. So there's a lot of people in the industry that went into the industry that have gotten a bad rap because they can't finish the job, and a lot of things that they got deleted come back on. So there's techniques that you can do that are permanent removals. 90%.
And he's not going to tell you how to do that.
Right. 80% of what we remove stays off. Now, the proper way of doing credit repair, not everybody can do. So let's get back to your original question. We're credible. We've been doing this over 20 years. We're still doing old school. We know it works. We know the little nuances and the little tricks to the trade. And you learn it. When you're doing it for this long, you learn it. So there's just a lot of people that jumped in the industry. They got their own credit fix. They thought they could be credit repair people. 90% of the people out there use a system. There's all these systems that do it automated. there's only a 20 to 30% success rate with that. We have an 80% success rate because we still do things by hand. And we have over 20,000 people that came in our system. That's a huge difference because the automated systems, they don't know how to respond. You're only as good as the response.
So is it like an AI?
It is, yeah.
Okay.
Pre-AI, it's like an AI.
Okay.
It's an algorithm.
Because AI is getting huge right now.
Huge, massive. And we're learning, we're going to adapt to that as well. But the old school methods, because of the Oscar machine that reads the letters you send, if you have something that has the fonts the same.
So it's the way that you write the letters and how these computers analyze it.
And you want them to open it. You want them to touch it. So we've gone as far as putting staples in the middle of the letters so it gets stuck in the Oscar machine to open it up, glue. Our dispute department used to look like an art gallery.
Wow.
Yeah, back in the day. Things have changed. But I think more people just dove into the industry. The more people are in it, some are credible, some are not. There's a lot of good people out there.
Yeah, I don't know who to trust though, but once I knew that a company like Priority One Credit Union trusted you guys, was referring their members to you, I knew that you were credible.
So,
and that I think is a big thing that you can put on your resume to say, we're referred by, an actual financial institution who is saying to their customers that want to buy a house.
Yes.
Listen, you're not really there yet. Why don't you go ahead and use them? Listen, it's different when you get like every Tom, Dick, and Harry is like referring out people, like that happens, right? And I believe that when I refer you, people take it real because I have a reputation of knowing what I'm doing, and I do. So that's helpful. But I think nothing speaks louder than something like Priority One saying that, hey, we recommend him, we're referring him out. See this guy, and then obviously you have your staff that is, very capable of getting this done.
Yeah, we've gotten most of our business from financial institutions from day one. We've always gotten most of our business from banks and credit unions. So that's how we actually built our model. Right. So not knowing it would be the credible resource that gets me all my business, down the road, just thinking it was a great resource to get business from. But when you build that relationship, like you said, it goes forever. So we dealt with over 120 banks in South Florida, and we continue to deal with quite a bit of them. And I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, and a lot of our business comes from, not that we can sway into this or not, but business loans from the bank because they were rejected. 80% of the business loans through banks are rejected. So when we built a relationship to be able to help fund those loans, fix the issue, give them back to the bank so the bank can refi them out of an alternative lending loan. And that's where we really built a lot of our business.
And that would be a whole nother show.
Sure, another subject.
Believe it or not, we're going to be running short soon. So first thing I want to do is I want to make sure that you can let everybody know where they can reach out to you if they want to get their credit repair, which I think a lot of people do. So how can they reach you?
My number, 954-410-0604. That's the best way of reaching us. Also on our email, creditugly@gmail.com. Certainly easy to remember, creditugly@gmail.com. Website is creditreportingadvisors.com. We're local. We're a nationwide company. We have bricks and mortar, local in Coral Springs, Florida, and Farmingdale, New York.
Okay, great. So before we get ready to go, because like I said, we really, it goes so fast, and we definitely want to come back and talk about business credit.
Sure.
Tell me like a great story, something that was like amazing that you did for somebody, like a credit repair that just was like out of this world. Yeah,
well, I'll just give you, we have a lot of them, but I'll give you one that just happened. 12 days, which is very rare. Most credit repair doesn't happen in 12 days, but we had a mission to pop 2 points for a client to be able to get the interest rate they needed. And within 10 days, we did a lawsuit against the credit bureau.
Oh, wow.
And which is a technique.
And they got scared.
And of course they get scared. So it's a good way in a situation like that to tackle it. We don't do traditional letter writing like everybody else does, but we have techniques like that. Just a quick example of a technique would be a medical collection. I'm not going to say it's not theirs.
Right.
Okay, it's theirs.
Because you want to really remove.
How'd you come up with that figure? So I'm going for the code writer who gave me the amount of money. They're not going that deep. So we manipulate that for them to work harder to remove things. We're not saying, hey, it's not yours. We're saying,
which then it won't come back on by what you're doing, right?
And every credit bureau, if you see the time the credit was given, each one has a different date. That's not allowed. Interestingly enough, it has to be accurate. Everything has to be perfect on that report. Right. So there's so much imperfection.
Right. And my last question for you is that I've heard in the past that people do add people onto their credit cards in order to increase their score. So if you have an excellent credit rating, you add that person onto your credit card in order to pump up their credit. Yes. Is that legal?
It is legal. It is legal. An authorized user.
Am I putting you on the spot?
Yeah, it's called an authorized user.
Okay.
It is legal. It can definitely enhance a credit score. You don't want to abuse it and put 10 of them. I had a guy today that put 4 of them on because he's looking to boost his credit, and that was a big mistake.
What do you mean he put 4 of?
4 authorized user accounts on his credit. He only had one solid account, and he put all 4 other 4s that don't belong to him. It's an authorized user. It belongs to someone else. So lender doesn't like that. They want to see some of your solid credit and maybe 1 or 2 authorized users.
Right.
You want great history. You want 20% debt to ratio on that card, maximum. Never any late or derogatory. And historically, you want it to be 4 years or more, maybe a $5,000-$10,000 limit. Definitely works. It definitely enhances the score. It could pop a score dramatically depending on what the existing file looks like.
Right. So somebody shouldn't be scared to let that happen for them.
No, but they should know if it's going to work. When I analyze a report, I might say, you don't need that.
Yeah, there's a way for you guys, even the lenders, for them to go ahead and analyze, like it's called a scenario, right? It's a
simulator.
It's a scenario simulator.
Correct.
Right? And it tells you the things that could could happen to make it better.
Because it can backfire. So
how is that so?
Well, if you have solid credit and you have enough history, why would you be adding an authorized user? Now you look weak.
Right.
It's like you have good credit and then you go for a secured credit card.
Right.
Why? Why would you go backwards?
Secured credit. Okay, so then the other thing is that when you turn 21, right, even before if you wanted to, but I'm sure you don't want to come off of your parents' cell phone bill.
Right.
But you really should have the cell phone bill in your name. At least you're having something that you're paying.
You can do an authorized user, perfect with a family member. That's perfect for mom to make a child
on the cell phone
authorized
bill?
user on a credit card because they don't have access to the card.
But the lenders are looking for people to have history.
Absolutely.
So I think like if you don't have like an electric bill or something to show history, like I think a cell phone would be. Back in the day, I had my own pager. My parents didn't pay for that pager.
Right. I had it too.
Sorry.
And I'm older than you.
Yeah.
My cell phone was this big. Anyway, somebody young can get credit, but man, you got to be really careful with that.
Yeah.
Like the colleges, how they used to have the campus. We used to have Capital One was on there. All these credit card companies, and they were giving credit to people that had no jobs. The kids had no jobs, and that's why they were in this credit crunch. It's horrible, and they still do it. But years ago, it was epic. That was a really big thing. It really hurt these kids. So they really, get a lot of.
Well, those would be me. That would be those kids back then.
Yeah, right. That would be.
Anything else you want to bring up that you think is important before we end today?
Well, I've worked with you for probably, I'm just going to guess, say 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
And you are everything that you are. Everything you say you are, and you're amazing. And appreciate you having me on the show.
Thank you very much. And I think the service you provide is essential to what I do. I think it's important. I know you've been busy. It's been hard to get you on here. I'm so appreciative that you came and you came out to the studio. But what you do is super important, and we really appreciate you coming out.
Thanks.
And we definitely want to bring you back to talk about business credit because everybody wants to start a business and, hey, we're in a business. Like, they might need your help, You never know,
That's right? That's right.
So anyway, I want to thank Joseph Zappoli coming out with Credit Ugly and can't wait to see you guys next week for our next topic. Have a great day.
Thank you for tuning in for Making Money with Laura Sanders, a name you can trust. To join the conversation, call us at the studio, 888-994-4995 Studio A, or contact Laura directly at 954-650-0827. Laura Sanders, a name you can trust. We look forward to seeing you next week.